Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, April 7th, about 10 minutes after 11 o'clock here almost, and welcome into this morning's video weather discussion where we are going to have an update regarding the severe weather threat across portions of the state for today. And then we're also going to have an update on the weather conditions, especially the sky cover conditions that are expected for Monday afternoon for the eclipse. But to start off here, wide view of the radar here across the central United States. You can see Illinois here towards the right center of the image here. And as you can see here, we do have some scattered showers and even some isolated thunderstorms that have been moving across portions of northern and especially northern and central Illinois during the morning hours today. Some of this activity, as it continues to rotate off to the northeast here, will continue across parts of northern and central Illinois into the middle of today and into the afternoon as well. You'll notice we have a area of low pressure spiraling out here across Nebraska. There is a frontal boundary that extends from this area of low pressure, and as we go through the day, this frontal boundary is going to lift northeast and eastward, and that will bring it across the state of Illinois. So as we go into the afternoon, what we're expecting for is, like I said, this activity will continue as it continues to move off towards the northeast, but we will be watching for another round of activity to develop along and ahead of that frontal boundary during the afternoon hours today. And then once that next round of activity develops, it will also move off in a northeasterly and easterly direction, especially across western and down into central and southern Illinois as well. So with that said here, let's take a look at one of the weather forecast models here as we go through the day today. So this is pretty much current time. This model is overall doing a decent job with how things are going. As I showed you on the radar, it is showing those showers and thunderstorms ongoing this morning across central Illinois. It does eventually have that activity regenerating off to the south as well, down through the St. Louis area as we head through the middle of the day and into the early afternoon. But what's going to happen here as we go into the afternoon is you're going to notice what I was talking about just a minute ago. We're going to have a frontal boundary that's going to be pushing in, and we are expecting a new round of activity to develop in the vicinity of that frontal boundary this afternoon here, and you can see that model is picking up on that new activity developing along that advancing frontal boundary this afternoon. And as we go into time here, you could notice how that activity does move in a generally northeasterly and easterly direction depending on where you live across the state during the afternoon and into the evening hours. You will notice this activity that does get going on the northern end really doesn't last long, and that is because the corridor or the environment that will be favorable for thunderstorms and severe weather in this corridor, it is going to be very, very narrow. It's going to be a very narrow corridor. So this activity, after a while, will outrun the corridor or the environment for severe weather and thunderstorm activity in that corridor. So that corridor is going to be a fairly short-lived threat for thunderstorms and severe weather, while for areas down here more across parts of central and southern Illinois, the corridor or the environment for severe weather and thunderstorms is a little bit wider. So the threat down there across parts of central and southern Illinois, you can see, lasts a little bit longer. But even as we get into the 9 to 10 p.m. time frame, even the threat down there will start to diminish as it shifts off towards the east. So by the time we get to 10, 11 o'clock tonight, you will see that things have calmed down and dried out across the state of Illinois. So with that said here, taking a peek at our updated severe weather forecast for today. So this is pretty much from now, for pretty much the middle of the day all the way into early tonight. You will notice we still do have a severe weather threat here, as has been the case for the past couple of updates down here across southern and central Illinois. That has been the case now for several updates. Isolated severe weather risk in the blue shaded area, that's a level 1 risk. And then down here across the far southern tip of Illinois, we have upgraded to a level 2 risk. So that means maybe slightly higher coverage of severe weather, more on the order of a widely scattered severe weather threat down there across the far southern tip of Illinois. Now, you will notice if you've been following along, we have added this corridor up here across western Illinois, up in the northwestern Missouri, and up into Iowa. This is a now level 1 risk severe weather area for today. For this afternoon, generally into early this evening, for the threat of isolated severe thunderstorms in this corridor. Now, for this corridor, the greatest severe weather threat is going to actually be some hail, probably small hail, as well as an isolated tornado threat in this corridor. Whereas the corridor down here across parts of central and southern Illinois, it's going to be a damaging wind, hail threat, and maybe an isolated tornado threat as well. So kind of two different areas we're watching for severe weather today. Once again, up here, western Illinois, up into the Iowa area, and then also down here in central and southern Illinois for today. Now, another thing that obviously is getting a lot of attention is the solar eclipse coming up for early Monday afternoon, right around and just after 2 p.m. on Monday. So things are actually looking a little bit iffy in terms of weather conditions, mostly in terms of sky conditions. So starting off tonight, you can see obviously with that rain and thunderstorm activity tonight, we obviously are going to be expecting clouds today and tonight with that. But as we work into later tonight, things really clear out across the state. You can see no cloud cover by the time we get to overnight tonight across the state. So you would think that would bode well for the eclipse on Monday. But what's going to happen is there's another storm system that's going to start to take shape down across the southwestern and the southern plains portion of the United States. And with that happening on Monday, you're going to notice some cloud cover that starts to form down here Monday morning from Oklahoma, Texas, up in Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky. We start to see this high cloud cover that starts to develop Monday morning in advance of that next storm system. And that cloud cover starts to stream towards the northeast, towards the state of Illinois. So by the time we get to 10 o'clock in the morning on Monday, we have this area of high-level cloud cover that is going to develop and start to move northeasterly into places like southern Missouri, southern Illinois, even down into southern Indiana here as we move through the Monday morning time frame. And as we move into the afternoon here, this is for noon, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. This is for about the time that the eclipse is occurring here. And totality for the eclipse kind of is going to run through roughly this corridor, kind of right here. That's pretty much going to be your totality for the eclipse roughly here on Monday. And you'll notice we are having cloud cover issues here across southern Indiana, southern Illinois, southern Missouri, and down in the Arkansas and also the Oklahoma portion of the totality for this eclipse on Monday as well. The good news is this is going to be high cloud cover. And with high cirrus cloud cover, sometimes it's thin, sometimes it's thick. So we're going to have to hope on Monday that this high cirrus level cloud cover on Monday hopefully is going to be that thinner variety, because if it is thin, you will still see the eclipse through it. It will look a little bit milky with that high level cloud cover, but hopefully it's thin enough that we can still see the eclipse through it. However, sometimes that high level cirrus cloud cover can be thick. And looking at some of the weather model forecast soundings, and then also the fact that the simulated IR satellite reflectivity here is showing some fairly cold cloud tops here with that cirrus cloud cover. And like I said, given what the soundings look like, it is looking possible that some of the cirrus level, high-level cloud cover here could be on the thicker side. So if you are heading out for the eclipse across southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, southern Illinois, up into southern Indiana, even up into Ohio, you may have to contend with some high-level cirrus clouds. Like I said, hopefully they're on the thinner side so you can still see the eclipse through it. But if it does happen to be on the thicker side, it could really hamper viewing conditions within this corridor. So that's going to be something to watch for with the eclipse here coming up We are going to be having coverage of the eclipse on Monday as well. Adam, as you may know, Adam lives down in Texas. He's going to be viewing the eclipse from Texas. Nick is out on a storm chasing tour. I believe they are targeting around southern Illinois or southern Missouri for the eclipse. I'm not sure if Luke is headed out. I believe he may be to see the eclipse, and then I will be heading out to the southern Indiana area for the eclipse, just based on how the current weather model guidance looks at this point in time. So we will continue to watch the cloud cover situation for the eclipse on Monday. The good news is it is going to be warm. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and we are expecting dry conditions for Monday. So it's really just the cloud cover situation that we are going to have to watch for the eclipse on Monday, and that's something we're going to continue to update you on here over the next 24 hours. But with that said here, going back to the severe weather forecast, once again, that's the main story for today. We are watching a severe weather risk across a good chunk of the state of Illinois for today, pretty much from right now, midday, all the way into the afternoon and evening hours before it comes to an end. The severe weather risk comes to an end by early tonight. With that said here, as you can see, level 1 severe weather risk from western down in the central and southern Illinois. Level 2 severe weather risk across the far southern portion of Illinois. The main threats today will be hail, damaging winds. Also can't rule out an isolated tornado threat either. So with that said, we'll go ahead and wrap up this discussion for this morning. We will monitor the severe weather situation through the day today, and we will provide you updates as needed. And then also, like I said, we will monitor the sky condition forecast regarding the potential for some clouds being an issue for the eclipse on Monday. We'll continue coverage and updates on that through today, tonight, and into the Monday time frame as well. But with that said, everyone have a great Sunday.